All right, so let's take a few minutes and talk about your final projects that you'll be completing for this class this semester. As you can see here at the top of the web page, I have a heading that says Final Project Information. I put this information up here so that it's easy for you to find, so you know where you can always go back to refer to it. So if you look here under the heading, I have two documents. The first is your final paper assignment, and the second is your final presentation assignment. And then here's the video that you're looking at. So let's take a look at the paper first. It is a PDF document, and I think you probably can't see the title way up here, but we'll start here with the overview. So really the purpose of this particular paper, this particular research paper, is for you to think about some of the different things that you've learned over the course of the semester, to conduct appropriate academic research, and to really figure out how to integrate and incorporate those ideas and concepts into a final paper. So over the course of the semester, you're going to be hearing about lots of different university resources, and some of those things might be applicable to your final paper. So what we're going to be focusing on for this paper is that you are going to be choosing one issue that a college student, probably a first-year college student, is dealing with. And so I'm going to skip over this section really quick. We're going to come back to that, but I want to direct your attention here to this table. So what I have done for you is I have pre-selected several student issues that most students I know of are dealing with in some form or fashion, and that you need to choose your topic from this particular list. Now, if you look at this list and you think, I don't really want to study that, I'd like to focus on another issue, you need to get approval from me before you move forward with that. The reason that you need to do that is that I have pre-selected these because I know that there's lots of great credible research out there that you will be able to find for these sources. If you decide to choose something on your own without consulting me first, there is a really good chance that you're going to choose something where you're going to have a very difficult time finding appropriate research that's really going to enhance your project. So make sure that if you're thinking about doing something differently, you need to get approval from me first before you move in that direction. So you can choose academic advising, campus involvement, time management, any one of these particular topics. So let's go back up here, because what I have here is exactly what it is that you need to provide me in your paper. Okay, so you need to provide an introduction. Every single paper, academic paper that you write, you're going to need to have an introductory paragraph where you are setting up your paper. Okay, a lot of us, myself included, have a difficult time writing introductions. If you struggle with an introduction, but you know something else that you want to say in the rest of your paper, just start there. You can always go back at the end and write an introduction. I don't know what order you wrote it in. So don't worry too much about the introduction, other than that, I want you to set up your paper. I want you to share with me the point of your paper, why you chose that particular topic, and how you think that's going to sort of manifest itself then throughout the rest of the paper. Okay, so make sure that you have a good solid introduction. You also need to, sort of as we look at the meat of the paper here on numbers 2, 3, and 4, that first big section, I really want you to talk about the issue that you are discussing. This is really your discussion section. And so why is it, for example, did you choose it? Why do college students need to be aware of this issue? Why is it maybe critical for college students to understand it in terms of how it relates to their success of being a college student? This is probably the best place to include your research. And so if you found a particular, for example, like if you're studying alcohol and drug use, and maybe you find some really great government statistics about binge drinking in college students, this would be a great place to include that particular research. Okay, so you have a good solid discussion. Then I would like for you to share with me your personal plan as it relates to this particular topic. So I'm guessing you chose this topic maybe because it's meaningful to you in some way. Perhaps you chose time management, for example. So what is it that you are now going to do in your own life to improve your understanding of time management? Okay, or maybe you chose financial literacy. That's a big deal for college students. Lots of college students are taking out a lot of loans, not really thinking about the ramifications of that upon graduation. And so if you chose financial literacy, tell me your personal plan in terms of how it relates to moving forward. What are you going to do to ensure that you have good, sound financial literacy? All right, so that's your personal plan section. And then you have an advice section. And so this is where I want you to share specific advice for a fellow college student on how to deal with the particular issue that you've chosen. Okay, so I want some specifics here. Really general information isn't particularly helpful. Really good specific information. And then obviously you need to wrap up with a conclusion. Conclusions are really important. You need to summarize the content and purpose of your paper. Sometimes students will just finish writing after the advice section, and I'm like, oh, did I miss something? Did it end? I need a paragraph there that signals to me that you are finished writing this paper, okay? So make sure that you have all 5 of these components in your paper. I have here the information on the paper requirements. So your paper's required to be about 4 pages long. So I'm not looking at a 10-12 research paper here, okay? 4 pages long, double-spaced. You must use MLA style formatting. If that is not a formatting style that you are familiar with, it is one that you will become familiar with. If you are taking EN 100 or EN 140 this semester, that's great because you will also be using MLA style, and so this paper will certainly complement the other things that you're learning in those classes. So MLA style, just as kind of a guideline, is 1-inch margins, Times New Roman 12-point font, a works cited page, proper in-text citations. We are going to be talking about this throughout the semester, okay? So if all of that just sounded like Greek to you, it's okay. We're going to be talking about it more. In fact, some of that here early in this semester. Your works cited page does not count towards your 4 pages. So in terms of the research requirements, you're only required to have one source, one academic source. And what I mean by that is that you have to have a source that you have found through Kent Library somehow. And so that could be a book, it could be a journal article, it could be a newspaper article, it could be something that you found in one of the library subscription databases. So obviously you all are online students. I know many of you are probably not even close to campus. You don't have to go to Kent Library to utilize all of the great services that they have. And so in fact, very early here in the semester, we're going to do an assignment where I will be introducing you to the library subscription databases. Those are a great resource for you to conduct academic research. Okay, so again, if all of this is like, what, I have no idea what you're talking about, it's okay. We're going to be talking about it here over the course of the semester. Your source may not be from Google. Okay. You may also, and you can't use your textbook either. Don't use your class textbook. You didn't have to go search for that. And so you can also, in your paper, feel free to include any information that you learned from class assignments, any sort of like forum posting information that you used. You're more than welcome to incorporate any of that into your paper. You are going to, just to make sure you're on track, you're going to be submitting your paper topic to me via forum posting during week 8 of the semester. There will be an assignment link under the assignments heading that week, and you'll just tell me what your particular topic is. And that's just a way for me to know that you have been thinking about this particular assignment. And so your final paper is going to be uploaded to a link under the week 15 heading, assignments heading. So that will be due by 11:55 p.m. on Sunday, May 1st. Late submissions, I'll have a separate link for late submissions where you can submit something up to 48 hours after the due date. After 48 hours, you're just getting a 0. But late submissions will automatically have 30 points deducted. This paper, as you can see here, is worth 100 points. If I take off 30, that means you're already to 70%, and I haven't even scored it yet. So that's something that you're going to probably get a D or an F on that paper if you submit it late. So really in your best interest, no excuse. Obviously, you've got 15 weeks to think about this here. So no excuse to submit this late. But just know that I will have a link where you can submit it late up to 48 hours, but after 48 hours, you'll just automatically receive a 0. I have a rubric here that tells you specifically what it is that you need to focus on. These are all of these first, the introduction, discussion, personal plan, advice, conclusion. Those are all the requirements, obviously, at the top of the page. Then I've also included, you know, the cohesiveness of the paper, spelling and grammar, sources, just making sure that you used appropriate source, and then your MLA style formatting, and how many points are allocated to each one. So you can see here that your personal plan is worth 5 points more than your discussion and your advice. So I really want to see some good information there. All right. So like I said, most of this information, well, I mean, in terms of the, excuse me, the MLA style formatting and how to conduct research, we're going to be talking about that throughout the course of the semester. So if that's something that you're concerned about, don't be too concerned yet, because we'll be getting there soon. Okay. So that's your paper. So let's really briefly talk about your presentation, because your presentation is a way for you to basically share what it is you found throughout the course of your research with your classmates. And so you're going to be essentially sort of sharing your research paper, but you are not to read directly from your research paper. I will be reading your research paper. So I will have already read it. In fact, I grade the papers first and then score the presentation. So if you're reading directly from your paper, I will know that, and that's not great, okay? So what I want you to think about doing here for your presentation is you need to share kind of the same information that you've shared in your paper, but I want you to think a little bit differently about the fact that, you know, you've written an academic paper, and then for your presentation, is there a way for you to share information that's a little more interesting in terms of how we speak to each other, okay? So let's talk about the top section first. This presentation is also worth 100 points. So your paper's worth 100 points and your presentation's worth 100 points. The presentation should be uploaded to the Week 15 forum. I've got specific directions here below. Again, do the same time as your paper at 11:55 p.m. on Sunday, May 1st. Any late ones posted will be 30 points off. Okay, so your presentation should be 3 to 4 minutes. Got a note here that says I will not view videos past the 4-minute mark. All right, I won't do it. I've had students submit 15-minute presentations before. I don't have time to sit and watch all those. I'm sure they're all great, but I don't have time to do that. And so I will not view videos past the 4-minute mark. You should include the following information that you've included in your paper, but I want you to think about maybe if there's a story that you'd like to share. Is there some reason you really chose this topic? Is, for example, is time management something that's really been an issue for you? Do you have some stories that you want to relate to that? You can kind of share that in your discussion, in your personal plan, in your advice section, but you do need to make sure that you include all of this information. This presentation should be considered formal, therefore proper attire is required and will be factored in when calculating your grade. So if you're wearing workout attire or t-shirts or hats, do not chew gum. You need to be sitting up or standing up. I once had a student sort of lounge on her bed while she was doing this. It was not a formal presentation. So make sure that you're taking this seriously. Like if you were actually coming to a class to deliver a presentation, how would you go about doing that? I've got your instructions here for uploading. You are going to need to upload this video to YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube account, you need to go create one. You can set the video, when you upload the presentation, you can set it to unlisted so that only the person who has a link can view it. You don't have to set it to public, but you cannot set it to private or nobody, including myself, will be able to view it, okay? If you don't have a YouTube account, have never done this before, you need to be practicing with this. Do not wait until that Sunday night to do all of this, because that will ensure that you won't be able to upload it. Okay, so make sure that you have enough time to do that. So once you've got your video uploaded, you'll be able to click the share option in YouTube, and you can just copy and paste that link into the forum posting. Obviously, you're welcome to view all your classmates' presentations. I would welcome you to do that. You will receive your presentation score through the forum posting, but I will also email you a rubric, and you will have you'll have that no later than May 6th. I have your rubric here for you. Again, sort of same thing as the paper. I tell you exactly what I'm expecting of you with all the points. So make sure that you read all this information carefully. That will help to ensure that you know what's expected of you. So those are the two presentations. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. Have a good one.